All right, welcome back, everybody. We see Bitcoin still pushing up as the stock market is actually falling. The past 2 days, the stock market has been selling off and Bitcoin has actually been rising. Are we finally seeing the decouple that we've all been waiting for? Post-halving. This is Crypto Rolly, the crypto watch that never stops. Live technical analysis, price predictions, and trading. Remember, these are my own ideas and opinions on the market, so please do your own research. Trade at your own risk. I'm not your financial advisor. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, tick the bell for notifications. Bitcoin back to 91.65. Let's go. All right, looking at the market. Bitcoin is up 3%, over 3% in the last 24 hours. You can see green across the board. Small gains, nothing too exciting. Monero up 7%. All right, and the volume is still above a billion, so looking good. We did see a decrease in volume. Basically, as soon as the halving event occurred, right before the halving, it was wild liquidations, both up and down. And then, as soon as the halving event occurred, everyone took a chill pill. And the volume has decreased, but we're still above a billion. We're getting some movement right now. The crypto fear and greed index moved up just a tad from the 39 in last video to a 41. Still moderately fearful, and I expect, though, if we can continue this bullish rally, we will continue much higher, and we may not see another pullback until we get into extreme greed. Okay, now of course, if we get a dump, we will visit back down to the extreme fearful side. Looking at coin farm, pretty split in the last 24 hours on the futures markets. You can see Binance, BitMEX, Bybit about 50-50, but slightly on the bull side. And then in the past hour, as price has just gone from 9100 to 9160, you can see that 60% or so, on the bull side as well. And then everybody's been talking about it, so I don't need to go into too much detail. But JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon changing their tune on crypto. Jamie Dimon, has been a well-known critic of Bitcoin in the past. And then, they started talking about a year ago having a JP Morgan coin. And then now they are having a relationship established with Coinbase and Gemini. This is all bullish to see, these large institutions become Bitcoin friendly. And this is all coming a day or two after the Paul Tudor Jones. Everyone's been talking about this. This is a billionaire investor that many may not have heard of before. Nonetheless, a billionaire investor. He was on Squawk Box CNBC talking up a lot of good hype about Bitcoin. He only has about 1 to 2% of his assets in Bitcoin. So that's why, when you see the stock market have a large crash and, people are selling off their stocks, to them, Bitcoin may just be a small portion of their portfolio that they want to get rid of as well. However, Paul Tudor Jones is looking at Bitcoin as, a possible answer to a second depression. Okay, so this is his, a bet on something more safe than traditional markets. All right, so this is a great speculation for him, but he also says the longer that it exists, whereas if I can find every day that goes by that Bitcoin survives, the trust in it will go up. So you're seeing more and more trust going into Bitcoin. This is all great news. And in fact, the guy who runs the show on Squawk Box yesterday admitted he owns some Bitcoin. So great news to see. Let's take a look at the charts real quick. 91.55. Yesterday's video, I went in depth on this chart here where I have my resistance box, support box. Take a look at yesterday's video if you want a very in-depth. But to sum it up, you have your descending trend line coming from the top down here. You can see it's been respected. We got rejected here on the weekly. You have a 7,800 horizontal that I would like to stay above to stay in, a comfortable bull market territory. Now, if we lose 7,800, I have a support box down here, between 6,700 to 7,300. Based on this previous trading, you can see that more on the daily. You had some price action down here, so that could provide, a support range, maybe a bounce zone. We could call it a bounce zone if we do lose that 7,800. If we lose, this bounce zone here, the bear market could continue much longer, and it doesn't look good at all on the macro. However, we are in this bit of a macro range, so this would be your resistance box. You can see you had the price range here. You were rejected by 10.5 there, again 10.5 there as well. This range is from anywhere between 9,400 to 10.5, putting in potentially a triple top. This is going to be hard resistance. So you have the downtrend resistance, you have this resistance box. You're going to need to break the downtrend and then consolidate above 10.5 here to continue, our bull market hopes. But things are still looking good. And this yellow line here is where you have an 11.8K CME gap from way back in August of 2019, just to keep on the radar. But, if we are able to consolidate above 10.5, I think 14K is a fair target. And then after that, 20K, right? Okay, so that's the macro range between these levels, and we're trying to see which way we'll break. Let's take a look at the stock market real quick, because the stock market has been selling off hard this week. You can see big red candle on the weekly. This has come after some news in the media. See the past 2 days sell candles, while Bitcoin, look at the daily chart on Bitcoin. Okay, guys, Bitcoin the past 2 days have been putting in green candles. Sell candles, green candles, actually doing the exact opposite since post-halving. So yes, we've been very correlated, during this drop here and then this run up here, but the 2 days, it's only been 2 days, post-halving, completely opposite. And, what we're hoping for is that Bitcoin can decouple from the stock market, that Bitcoin can, be a digital gold, a store of value. Now, you do see, I'll point out real quick, that with the stock market falling, that gold is actually looking for a potential rally as well. Gold is putting in a bit of a bull flag. Potentially, you have the pull up and a symmetrical triangle type pennant here. So just looking for a breakout, but you can see gold is also up the past 2 days. So the past 2 days, Bitcoin has moved with gold and not the stock market. Now, the stock market has been dropping based on the news yesterday. Dr. Fauci, the lead scientist doctor for the White House, was, interviewed and testified in front of the Senate. And basically he said that, if the country reopens the states too early, it could have a devastating effect. We could, have, a real economic crisis if we get shut down a second time by trying to open too early. Also, many deaths will come. And on top of that, the death toll has risen as well. And then, LA, they're talking about extending stay at home till July, which, by the way, to clarify, they were saying that some type of restriction, not like, full shutdown till July in California, just, or LA, they're saying just some type of restrictions. But the media was heavy bearish, okay? And again, I'm seeing bearish headlines today and tomorrow. The lead scientist that was ousted by the White House a couple months ago, for his thoughts on the pandemic, is actually going to also give it, he's going to testify tomorrow and is basically saying we might see the coldest winter ever. You're starting to hear very harsh things come out of the media and news outlets. Russia now, is number 2 largest, or the most cases in the world is in Russia. Number 2, Brazil's starting to have an outbreak. So these stories aren't going away and the stock market's falling. So I had to say all that to make sense of where I'm going with this next. The stock market is on a critical 2,800 support line here. You can see if you did a Fibonacci retrace from top to bottom, we did twice get rejected by the golden retrace 0.618 and are landing on the 0.5 Fibonacci around 2,800. You can see this was a, this is a horizontal level of interest. Regardless, if you, got rid of, the Fibonacci, you would still draw a horizontal there. So The stock market needs to hold that level. Otherwise, it risks a much larger sell-off, and this could potentially be the end of this relief rally. So you had a big dump, and then potentially, a dead cat bounce, and then this could just topple back downwards. It doesn't have to come all the way down here. Maybe it comes down here. Either way, a large sell-off in the stock market may affect Bitcoin. But we're hoping, if the trend of the past 2 days continues, that maybe Bitcoin can do its own thing. Or maybe the sell pressure is there on the stock market, but not so strong that it just drags down everything on Earth, okay? So that's what we're watching for. Critical level, getting a little bit of a bounce by the end of the day. You can see the Wall Street just closed 1 minute ago, and it got a little bounce there, so maybe it continues higher. I'd like to see, the stock market performing well is, good for Bitcoin in my mind. If the stock market is performing poorly, I'm going to be a bit cautious on Bitcoin. But just keeping that in mind. So is Bitcoin now becoming a hedge against the stock market, or will Bitcoin follow the stock market and also see what looks like more of a relief rally top? But Bitcoin, see, the thing with Bitcoin is Bitcoin has broke above resistance levels, critical resistance levels, retraced that entire move from the March 12th sell-off was actually here. The March 12th, Black Swan event was here, retraced that, broke bullish from there. We've retraced, the beginning of March. When we came up to 10K, you retraced the entire end of February where the pandemic news, this is where the stock market started to fall off a bit. You can see that. So, so we see that the stock market got rejected at the golden retrace, where Bitcoin has just completely surpassed that. If I do a quick Fibonacci retrace on Bitcoin from this top to this bottom here, it's hard to see when the volume's there because of the wick. You can see we surpassed that level. The golden retrace on Bitcoin was here at the March 12th Black Swan sell-off. So we've completely surpassed that level. So we've outperformed the stock market post Black Swan event, post pandemic sell-off. So they could be acting differently. And on top of that, let's look at the weekly. We are above the 21 EMA. We're above all moving averages. So this looks good to me. Okay, so let's do a quick little breakdown, guys. Above all moving averages, you retested it, bounced, retested it, with the volatility on the halving day and bounced off. 92.50. Wow, looking great. 92.60. All right, pumping. Guys, real quick, let me go down to the 4-hour. Take a look at this. Obviously, by the time you watch this video, price may be moving, but you're at a resistance level was 9,200. All right, so 9,200 was the level I want to break above. You had a resistance level there. You can see, kind of found support there, resistance, and now breaking above. If we can close a 4-hour above that level, we could be attempting much higher. I did have a chart. Let me see if it's up here real quick. It's on my Twitter. Just one moment. It's a nice drawing, and I want to share that with y'all instead of redrawing a new one. All right, bear with me, or should I say bull with me? Wow, that was unplanned. All right, come on, load up. This was unplanned as well. All right, so this was what I wanted to show you guys. Basically, we were in an ascending triangle. We broke out of that ascending triangle, hit the 9,200 resistance, wanted to get above 9,200 resistance, and about 9,600 was my target using a extended move target. I was being modest. Instead of using from here to here and dragging that this way, I went from here to there using, the candle bodies pretty much, and dragged that to there and put us right in this resistance box around 95, 9600. We'll see if we can get that. Okay, so That was the faster way to do it, 92.70. And you're also coming up on that downtrend resistance. So from the top of 20K to 14K. So everything is looking good still. On the 4 hour, your slow moving Stoke is still pointed up, looking good, getting high, but hasn't hinted across up. And your fast moving Stoke, and yesterday's video I talked about how I have the fast moving Stoke on a 533 setting, and then the slow moving on a 1436 setting on my Stokes. But your fast moving Stoke is up high hinting, but hasn't crossed down yet. We'll see what happens there on the 4 hour, and just been coasting along. You're not overbought yet. You're in the bullish territory. Kind of looking like a rising wedge though, so we'll have to see what happens there. Okay, guys, and you're still maintaining this uptrend of support as well. So you guys want to maintain. So we bounced off of that again. If we end up losing this uptrend rising support at any point, that could be a bit bearish, but looking good so far there. Let's look real quick at the 4 hour, our moving averages. Above all moving averages on the 4 hour, looks good. Going to the daily real quick. On the daily, looking to close the daily above 91.77 for a continued breakout. So that would be the level to close above on the daily. And your Stokes on the fast moving Stokes looking for a cross up. Your slow moving still coming down. So we'll see, if you do get that cross up here, will the slow moving follow it? Okay, you did, went over bought on the RSI, came back down to the neutral territory and getting a bounce, looking good, could still march your way up higher. So Bitcoin is still good. I was saying above 7,800, 8K, I think we're still in a bull market, because we're above that weekly 21 EMA, above all the moving averages on the weekly, which was all bullish. And then, the daily, we came down. We had a bit of a sell-off right before the halving, sell the news just a day or two before. But you maintained the daily yellow 21 EMA as well. So that was bullish. We still maintained it. Now looking to close back above. And, you're above your pink 200 simple, which is on the daily bullish, and on top of that, your 50 EMA, orange 50 EMA cross above the light green 200 EMA for a golden daily cross. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I am bullish on Bitcoin until I am shown a reason not to be. The stock market was giving me a bit of a scare, a bit nervous. Now, if this 2,800 level is lost, I'm still going to be cautious about Bitcoin, because if there is a big sell-off, it might bring Bitcoin down with it. But until then, just trade the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin likes to just kind of do its own thing sometimes. Sometimes it's correlated to gold. Sometimes it's correlated to the S&P 500. You never know. So, just best to stick to the Bitcoin chart if possible. Keeping all these different things in the back of your mind. It's a crazy game of crypto. I got to get back to the charts. Bitcoin is moving. Hit that like for me one more time, guys, and I will see you next time.